Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite business podcast, the number one business podcast in Mongolia, the Sales on Demand Show. My name is Adam Schneider, and I'm your host. This is episode 148, and we're continuing our series on the basics of building an online income. So this is part 2, and this is a second part to a message that I gave, or not a message, thinking of like a preacher, but a presentation that I did in Florida for Tom Wood's School of Life. So that one was about 40 minutes long, and so I've broken it up into 2 pieces, and I'm going to give you guys the same thing, but with a little bit more even, just because, why not? So, first of all, if you haven't listened to episode 147, you really have to do that now, because otherwise this may not make very much sense to you. So you should go ahead and do that now. Go ahead, listen to episode 148, and I'll just sit here quietly waiting for you to do that. Okay, cool. So hopefully you were able to do that. If it took you more than 3 seconds, then you really need to work on your listening skills. No, I'm kidding. No, but you should pause this and go listen to that. And let's get into this. So, it is the middle of winter still, and I will confess that I don't hate this winter as much as I normally hate winter. I wouldn't say that I love winter because I don't know. There's not enough of it to love, or enough to love about it. And there's a lot to love about spring. I love spring. There's nothing better than when the temperature gets nice and it's, a nice balmy plus 15 degrees, and you can go running outside, you can go for walks outside, and you're not shoveling endless amounts of snow. Your car can start, the door locks in your car don't freeze. That happened to me the other day, and I took my car to the car wash, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if I'm going to have any trouble with my door locks. Sure enough, yeah, they were completely frozen yesterday, and I'm like, well, I should have known that was going to happen. So now I got to get that lock de-icer and shove it in there and try to get my doors open again. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of winter activities that I quite enjoy. And one of those is camping in the winter. I've actually gone camping more times in the winter now than I did in the summer, which is kind of crazy. Although the summer, it's only about 2 months long, so we don't get a lot of, summer camping. You basically have to just get out there when you can on a weekend. Drive and load up the trailer and everything like that. So we went winter camping, and we stayed on a frozen lake, which is something that we intentionally planned this out. Me and my son, and it worked out pretty good. It was a lot of work, just because we parked on a hill, and the lake was probably 50 meters down this hill, or 50 yards if you're American. And there's so much gear to haul down there, right? So you've got 2 cots, sleeping bags, and the mattress, the tent, which is well over 80 pounds and is just a monster. The stove, the firewood, we brought a propane heater down there, food. There was probably like 10 trips up and down this hill, and then taking it down another 10 trips. I was exhausted after that, but it was still fun. We basically we're just in this little, not a little, but it's a pretty big tent. And man, I love this tent. It is just the best tent that you can buy. Russian tent, straight from Russia. So cost a lot of money, but it's now one of my favorite possessions, and I'm happy that I spent the money on it, and now I've got to save money. So we're going to save up and buy the house that we're living in. But I just thought I would share that, winter isn't quite as awful as I usually find it to be. Although I'm definitely looking forward to summer. They brought seeds out at our local hardware store. So I went in there the other day and I was like, ooh, I'm going to buy like 17 packages of seeds because I want to have a big garden again this year. Except last year I didn't really have a big garden at all. This year I'm starting early. So I'm going to be starting in March or April, my seedlings, so that I can put them out by May or June. So yeah, but it's still only the beginning of February, so still got quite a bit of winter ahead of us, and hopefully a few more camping trips as well. But let's dive into this. So last week I talked about e-commerce. In particular, I was talking about selling print on demand on marketplaces, and not just print on demand, but other kinds of products as well, and selling them through an online store such as Shopify or WooCommerce or something like that. These are my two favorite ways of making money online. So go back and listen to those, and I would highly recommend getting into either one of those, especially with print on demand. Really easy, a low barrier to entry, which is always great for new people who want to get into something. The selling with an online store is a little bit of a higher barrier to entry because you're advertising, and you can expect to lose money when you're advertising, especially right in the beginning. So you're testing products, you're testing ideas, you're running ads, and you're not making profits because you're spending more money on advertising than you are taking in. And this is what drives a lot of people away from doing this method of selling, is the upfront costs. But as long as you get everything going well, once you get it really tuned in and you get everything working properly, this is the most profitable thing that you can do. There are people who start an online store and end up making $1.4 million in a year. Of course, that's gross sales, not net profit. But assuming a profit margin of around 20 to 25%, you can see how this is like good money. Good money. So let's get into some more things here. So more e-commerce things that you can sell. Number 3 for me is digital courses. So I had a digital course. Now I don't promote it very much anymore. I had a digital course called the Print on Demand A to Z, but I found that it was just like you have to keep updating courses. So like if I don't keep updating the course, it kind of gets stale. The content becomes out of date. And then I was already coaching for another program, and I thought, well, this is kind of overlapping with that program, so I've stopped promoting it. And I just wasn't really feeling good about selling, the same thing. But there's other digital products that I've thought about creating that are not overlapping with what I'm already teaching. And so I probably will create some mini courses and sell those. And mini courses are fantastic because digital products are just so much different from selling physical products. In some ways they're better, and in some ways they're harder. They're different. They're not necessarily better or worse. They're just harder. It is quite a bit more difficult to sell digital products than it is to sell print on demand, just because not only do you have to create the product, it has to be something that is, it's got to be high quality, and then you have to find somebody to sell it for you. So you either have to connect with somebody who is an affiliate, which means that, you need to network, right? So you need to get your name out there. You may want to start a podcast or something like that. And that's what I did. I was selling that course on the podcast, and I made about $20,000 selling that course. And I didn't have any affiliates. I didn't have anybody helping me at all. Nobody was promoting this product except myself. And I promoted it through an email list. and I promoted it through the podcast. And I don't have a ton of listeners on this podcast. I mean, even though I am the number one business podcast in Mongolia, I mean, that is something that I am very proud of. I've worked very hard to get there. I'm still not the number one in Canada or the United States. So, still working on that. I might be in the top, I don't know, 10,000. I'm not sure what my ranking is. They don't really tell me that. But you don't need that many listeners to sell a digital course because, especially when you're talking about a highly focused topic. So I'm assuming that everybody who listens to me right now is really interested in making money from home. Like that is one of your, interests in life. And if you had access to a digital course, you would probably be at least, tempted to buy into it. So selling courses is a great way to sort of build an income. Although there's no such thing as passive income. You've got to develop the course, you've got to launch it, and you've got to promote it. But it is quite profitable, and it's all profit, really, because you're selling something that doesn't require any physical, anything to be sent out. So people have access to the training material that you created. You only have to create it once, and then it's basically delivered on demand. And there's no or very little upfront cost to that. So the platform that I was using was called Teachable. I think it's a good platform. Teachable's just as good a platform as any. And it even has an affiliate program, so you can create affiliate links for your digital product, and then you can gather affiliates together and say, hey, listen, you get a cut of the product when it sells, and you can afford to give out a pretty decent affiliate commission to people who promote the product for you, because you're really not, there's no cost to the product. So every single customer is profitable, even if you're giving away half of your income. Now, digital courses can also be combined with other upsells, right? So I am the head coach for a program called the Low-Hanging System. And how we do it with the Low-Hanging System is that there is a basic course, the Low-Hanging System. So people will come and join the Low-Hanging System. There's a whole stream of advertising and videos, and it's a big system, and it's set up to be kind of sort of automated, right? So we're constantly creating new content for it. We're keeping everything up to date, but basically we're bringing in new students, and they get access to videos, and they get access to some bonuses and stuff like that. But there's also a premium course, or a premium level of the training called Launch 100. And this is where I was kind of hired to set this up, is to sort of structure this Launch 100 so that it offers a lot of value. And so this Launch 100 it includes one-on-one coaching. So you actually get to, book a call with a coach, and we have 13 coaches, it's wild that we have that many coaches, but it's good. It means this is probably the number one e-commerce training program that I know of. Like, I can't think of an e-commerce training program that's as big or as successful as this one. Maybe Sophie Howard's Blue Sky, which she talks about how to sell private label products. But even that, I still think the Low-Hanging System is the best one. In my opinion, we have the best trading program. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm involved with it, but even if I wasn't, I would still think that we're doing it the best, just because we just have a really good track record. So when you're talking about selling courses, though, you can sell just the videos, right? So it can just be like, okay, here's a series of videos on how to, you can sell anything you want to. So here's some examples of things that you could sell as a course. So let's say that you're a capable artist, And I actually know somebody who is a pretty capable artist, and she does all kinds of what she calls mixed media. And so she makes cool looking art with just random things that you can find, like cardboard and felt and stuff like that. You can sell that as a training course. Like, here's how you can sell, you can create these felted products. Now, the best kind of training programs are the kinds that teach other people how to sell things as well. So, probably the most profitable kind of sort of training program would be teaching people how to build their own business. And maybe they build their own business selling these little felted things on Etsy or something like that. So there has to be some profit in it for the student in order for them to pay a lot of money for these courses. If it's just, hey, here's how you can make art and it's cool, it's fun, you could sell that for $100, maybe $99 or something like that. But if there's some profit in it for the student, and there has to be some proven profit, right? You're not going to sell something to somebody if it's just, videos that they could find on the internet. Well, they can get that for free on YouTube or something like that. So there has to be something in it for the student to make them want to buy this course. Fitness would be a good one too. Like, losing weight is a huge pain point for a lot of people. Like, hey man, I want to learn how to lose weight and eat keto or something like that. So those are going to be really, really effective and popular courses. You could probably sell thousands of those. So for selling courses, you want to listen to Tom Woods, who is, of course, my mentor. He sells a lot of courses, and he actually has like a little training program, I believe, on how to sell courses. So listen to the Tom Woods Show, sign up for his email list. He does have like a little free training program, I guess, on how to build a digital course. But also, you may want to buy the book called Launch by Jeff Walker. I bought this book and I read it, and basically, like, I felt like, okay, I'm prepped on, not only was I mentally prepared on how to sell a course, it inspired me. And I realized, okay, I can do this. I can sell this course. And so those two resources were quite effective. But honestly, I just kind of figured it out as I was going along. You create a course and you find an audience, right? So this can be tied in with what I'm going to be talking about later on in this podcast, audience building. So you can build an audience through social media or something like that, and you can use that audience to sell a course. Now, the pros of this are there's no inventory, there's no limits, and you can make a pretty fast start at this. The cons are you do need to market this to an audience, either with an affiliate or your own audience, and it does need to be a high quality, production. So you can't film a bunch of, like 3-minute videos and package that and call that a course. There needs to be a decent amount of quality in here. You're probably going to have to appear on video, or your voice is going to need to be on video. You can do screen capture recordings on your computer. So if you're teaching something like, hey, here's how to trade, foreign exchange currency, then you can do a lot of screen capture, but you're still going to have to do audio voiceover in order for people to understand that. And you need to have a little bit of a talent for instruction and teaching. So it is something that can be very profitable, but it is not for everybody. Not everybody will be good at this, and not everybody will want to do this. But if you have the desire, it can be done. And a lot of people who sell digital products have made multiple digital products and sell them, and then they keep building and refining their digital products. And they just get better at it every time. So I'll call this one, I'm going to say it's got a difficulty of 7 out of 10. Because you do have to find or build an audience to make this work. Okay, so the next one we're talking about here is affiliate marketing. So this is something that is always done intentionally, and there's many, many ways to do this. So, and there's many different things that you can sell. Sometimes It's profitable, but because there's so many people doing affiliate marketing, it's pretty competitive, especially in certain marketplaces, right? So famously, the I guess the market that I'm in is make money from home, e-commerce. That's a very competitive niche. So it's very, very difficult to crack in as a top affiliate or a top um, audience for that kind of program. So to do affiliate marketing, you have to build an audience. There's just no way around this. So here's some ways to build an audience. Obviously, this one is no-brainer, but start a YouTube channel. YouTube is still basically the number one source of free traffic for video creators on on the planet. Although there are some other channels that seem to be growing quickly. So Rumble is growing pretty quickly. Although Rumble has a focus that is different from YouTube. It's not like a broad focus. But Rumble is still a good platform, and you probably could take your videos and put them on there as well. TikTok. You can put your videos on TikTok. They do need to be filmed in a certain format, and they need to be shorter videos, so you may have to edit your videos down a bit. Instagram, great way to build an audience. People will follow your feed. You can make hashtags. You can have a podcast. You can start a Pinterest account, and you can create pins with articles, and you can also build a website and get organic SEO traffic. So that's a lot, and it's a lot of work. So this is not one of those things that you can hire somebody to do. You can hire people to do some of these things. So you could hire somebody to do some of your Instagram stuff. You could hire someone to edit your YouTube videos to make them a little more appealing and add a thumbnail. But you're really it's all about creating just a ton of relevant and valuable content that is highly focused and targeted to your desired audience. So you need to study search engine optimization so that you're using the proper keywords, right? You can't just use any random keywords because you need to be talking about the things that people are searching for. That way they'll find you. So that's what SEO is, search engine optimization. If you're doing a website, then you're going to be writing a lot of articles about various topics. And then you need to find a product that you can be an affiliate for. So the pros of affiliate marketing is that it is pretty easy to start doing this. There's lots of options and lots of ways to do it, but it is competitive and it can be very slow to generate income, right? So it might take a long time to rank a website. Website ranking in Google is an entire, it's a topic of its own that deserves, hours of treatment. And honestly, a lot of the data about how to rank a website I find it quite boring. It's like, okay, you can do this, you can do that, you can do backlinks, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just really not very interesting to me, and so I've never really gotten into the affiliate marketing side of things because I'm more of a content creator. I don't really want to sell someone else's product, so I just, it's not really what I want to do. I want to sell my own product because I think my product will be better. And there's always a danger with affiliate marketing that you don't have control over the product that you're promoting. So if you're promoting someone else's product, sure, you might be getting a cut of the sales, but they can change the arrangement, they can go out of business, the product, the amount of affiliate fees that you get can change. And this happens a lot with websites that are using Amazon affiliate links. So Amazon has affiliate links. You can be an Amazon affiliate, and then when you promote an Amazon product, you'll get a cut of the sales. But the cut is pretty small. And it used to be more, but they've actually reduced how much they're giving the affiliates. I don't know why, but you do run the risk that your fees will change. So in my opinion, if you can, building your own product is better. And, you can do both. You can be an affiliate and you can, sell your own product, right? So most people who have an audience, they do both. So that is something to consider for affiliate marketing, is that there are pros and cons to it, and those are the pros and the cons. All right, so we're going to talk about audience building for a little bit. We're going to talk about two different ways that people build audiences and how you can monetize those two different methods here. So the first one I'm going to talk about is accidental audience building. And this is kind of an interesting phenomenon that just seems to happen to people who just had no intention of building a big audience, but some little X factor just draws people to these social media what do they call them, influencers or whatever. These people gather an audience just by nature of what they talk about, and there's a massive untapped desire to follow these people. So my first example of this is a guy named Steve Wallace, who is a Canadian, and he has a channel called Camping with Steve. And this is insane, just how simple and just how unintentional this was. So Steve loves camping, and he just goes camping, and he films his adventures while he goes camping. One of his little shticks is that he will go stealth camping. So he will pick a place that you're not supposed to camp, and he will find a way to go camping there, and he'll film his adventures while doing that. So he's filmed himself camping in ditches, behind signs, and he went camping in a roundabout once, and that was kind of interesting. And I feel an affinity for this guy because he was from Alberta, and he's just a really personable guy. He's got an interesting style of speaking, and I think that's what really makes his channel work really well. It's just there's a lot of factors that he didn't intentionally create, but they work really well. So he's gathered well over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and his YouTube channel has grown up quite a bit. So he gets people giving money to him. He calls them beer donations, and he's got a script that he sticks to, and people like the script, and so they watch his channel. And so that's something that you need to learn from. Pick a script and stick to it, and if people like it, they're going to watch you. But Steve Wallace is just one example of many, many huge YouTube stars who kind of just stumbled across their fame by accident. Joe Rogan is an example of somebody who blew up, not intentionally. Like, nobody was artificially promoting Joe Rogan. It's just that people like how he does his thing. Another person who's doing really well is Dave Smith, the podcast Part of the Problem. And so these are people who have built an audience largely by accident. There's obviously some intentionality there. Once they see that something works, they're doing more of it. But it's not like they started off thinking to themselves, hey, I'm going to become really super famous. A really, really good example of this is Zuby. If you guys are on Twitter, you probably know who Zuby is. Zuby is the poster child for accidentally famous. But he's definitely somebody that you probably will want to follow. He's a very interesting fellow. He's talking about social topics and stuff like that. But he really just jumped into this and had no intention of becoming as well known as he is now. But he's, obviously somebody worth following. The difficulty of an accidental audience building is that it's accidental, right? It's not something that's going to happen to everybody, or even, it's a very small group of people who accidentally build a huge audience. So there's no way you can rely on this. It's almost like people who accidentally became movie stars. Somebody just happened to see them and said, "Oh, hey, I think this person would be a good actor," and they they cast them in a big movie and they became famous. So this is literally chance that this happens to. And monetizing this requires a pretty large audience, right? So you have to have a pretty big audience of people in order to make this profitable, because you're relying on the lowest level of monetization, which is advertisements. Sometimes you can get people to give money to you or something like that, and that definitely gives you a much larger income source when people are donating to your cause or to you, or just giving you money because they appreciate what you do, which you might think is like that's dishonest, but it's not dishonest. If people like you, they'll give you money. And so if you say, hey, if you guys like what I do and you want to, contribute to me doing more of it, here's my Patreon link, or here's my donation thing, my donation email address. That is, people are giving their money of their own free will. So there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Some people might say it's begging, it's grifting, but it's not. If you have something of value and people believe in it, you can get money just people sending it to you. The cons of this are obvious, is that it's quite difficult to build this, and it's often done unintentionally. It also attracts a lot of people who don't like you for no reason whatsoever. So you just attract a lot of haters and scoffers. So the more famous you get, the more people hate you. It's not a very big number of people who will hate you, but people, there are groups of people out there who just hate success, and they will come after anybody who looks successful for whatever reason. So you're going to attract some of these people, and they might try to make your life difficult. And so you have to either monetize them, or you have to ignore them. But don't fight with them. It's not worth it. So the final thing about audience building here, and we're going to talk about intentional audience building, and this is very profitable. And it's, of course, much easier to do for the average person because it's very intentional. It doesn't require you to have the personality traits of the most lovable people out there. You don't have to become viral on any platform. It's a methodical process, and you're focusing, it's less about you and more about what you're talking about. So, for example, this podcast is intentional audience building. I am intentionally trying to get people to subscribe to a podcast where we're talking about something that is fun. It's fun to talk about making money online, right? And, I'm not drawing people in through my magnetic personality. I don't think I have a incredibly magnetic personality. I think maybe I'm a little bit, decent at making funny jokes, and maybe I'm not terrible to listen to, but that's not the real value here. The real value is that I'm bringing information, assembling it, and putting it out there for you to digest in a palatable format that is also actionable, right? So it's understandable and you can take action on it. So I'm telling you, here's how to do this. Here's a cool thing that you can do. Here's how to do it. I mean, that's really as simple as it gets. So intentional audience building, every step is planned out and optimized. An example of this would be a how-to channel where you're talking about how to fix your car, right? So every week you release a new video, and you're talking about, okay, here's how you replace the brake caliper on a 1998 Toyota Corolla, right? So you're just creating how-to videos that people will come and look at. And the beauty of this is that your old content will always be relevant, because it's not, you're not really building, you're not relying on cultural topics per se. You're building a library of content that is valuable no matter when it's listened to. And so intentional audience building can be very powerful because it's basically about momentum, right? So you're building momentum with every piece of content you put out, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a how-to YouTube channel, or both. You can have a podcast based on a YouTube channel, so it's just the audio, a TikTok channel, all of that. And the best part about this is that you don't have to have a huge audience. So as long as you're super focused on a very passionate niche, right? So let's say that you love gardening, and you're like, okay, we're going to talk about how to create an indoor garden and grow your own vegetables using hydroponics or aquaponics or some other ponics type of thing, which is something that I'm actually quite interested in doing. And I've thought about creating a YouTube channel on that very topic, but I think I have enough going on right now that I probably can put that on the back burner. But I mean, that right there is a very passionate niche. There's people out there discussing this, ad nauseum. They just love this, and they want to watch videos. They want to listen to podcasts. They want to follow you. They want to be involved with this, and they just want to be a part of this niche. So if you build an audience around a niche, and you put out consistent content that is valuable, you will build an audience. It's inevitable. So when you get good at this, you can actually monetize this by building courses. You can coach people. So for example, let's say you're talking about fitness, and your focus is like, okay, this is how you start running after you reach the age 40, right? So people who would like to start running and jogging, but they're over 40 years old. And this, again, this is a niche that I'm actually like, that I would be interested in that. So you build a YouTube channel and you film yourself talking about, hey, here's how you run. You gotta adjust your stride like this, and here's how many miles you should run when you first get started. Run really slow, build up a base of fitness, and then do this, do that. And here's some shoes that I really like, and you can get a free PDF on how to get started running by clicking the link in the description. So you're basically monetizing your audience intentionally, with the idea that someday you're going to make some money off of this. Now, it does take time, but it doesn't necessarily take a long time, and there is a good living to be had doing something that is a lot of fun. And typically, like, if you're building an audience for something that you're passionate about, then it's not really work. This is more like, man, I really love doing this, and I'm so grateful that I get to talk about it and make money from talking about this a lot. Now, it does take passion, right? So you can't be this kind of person who's really mousy and like, oh, hey everybody, today we're gonna talk about running. Running's fun. Here's my shoe. We're gonna go running. Cool. You have to at least be semi-enthusiastic about it and authentic. People can see through fake passion pretty easily. So you have to at least, you have to be authentic, and you have to be passionate in an authentic way. And then you do need to intentionally monetize this, which can take some time, right? You can build up a coaching program or something like that. You can build up a training program, or like a consulting type business. But yeah, you can definitely build up a full-time income off of intentional audience building. So here are some steps to focus on for intentional audience building. First of all, you got to decide, what am I going to focus on? And it can't just be something like art. You probably want to focus on something very specific, like mixed media or watercolor painting, because that's what people are really searching for. They're not just searching for art in general. They want to see specific kinds of art. Now, you can switch between different kinds of art, but each piece of content should be very hyper-focused on a very specific, even a specific technique, right? So it's like, here's how you make a tree look really realistic using just the tip of this brush. I don't know if it's probably a thing, but I'm not really good at that. So, for example, like running. Okay, let's talk about how you can reach your first 5 kilometer run, and fixing cars. Here's how, you can replace the speedometer on a 1957 Bel Air Chev. I don't know if that's a real thing or not. Sounds real. So, here's how you can make money cleaning windows. Here's how you get more clients as a window cleaner. Stuff like that is very specific. It is action oriented, and people love it. They are looking for that kind of content all the time. So that's important. You need to focus on something specific. You need to constantly be creating content. So you need to have either weekly or daily videos, podcasts, and just be putting out content all the time. Now, yes, you're probably going to say, "Hey, didn't you, are you doing that, Adam?" And I would reply, mostly, yes. I mean, this podcast, I'm not really intentionally trying to monetize this podcast. It's just fun. I just enjoy podcasting in general. This is almost like a hobby for me. But I know that if I needed to monetize this, I could. I could monetize this. I can make a good living out of it, and it would be fun. So the next thing for intentional audience building is you want them to connect with you by email. So you need to have some reason for them to sign up for an email list. This is important because people, you need to be able to speak to your audience directly, not just through videos, but through email as well. And this is how you're going to basically promote, whatever monetization technique that you are going to promote. And then you can sell them products that will help them with whatever niche that you're involved in. And that's it. That's the whole thing. It's not really that complicated. But, it takes time and it takes consistent effort, just like with anything else. So that's it. I mean, I kept it under 45 minutes. How about that, huh? Well, thanks everybody for listening to my little podcast here. Hopefully you got lots of value out of this. If you find value out of this, you can sign up for my newsletter at salesondemandshow.com/start. You also get some free videos on how to start your own e-commerce store on Etsy. If that's something that you're interested in, or you just want to hear more of my baritone voice, sign up for that. salesondemandshow.com/start. We'll see you next week.